It's a really quirky little prototype, and I'm really grateful to KR Models for allowing me to have a really close look at this lost diesel dinosaur. Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jennifer Kirk, welcome you up here to the loft in Weir Yard. And today we've got an exclusive. This is a first look at the EP of the DHP1 prototype locomotive that was originally built by Clayton. Now you might remember the Class 17 locomotives, which do look a little bit similar. There's certainly a family heritage. But maybe like me, you're one of those people who were not even aware that there was this other diesel dinosaur pioneer that actually was probably one of the least successful of all those pioneer locomotives. Now, KR Models have built a reputation for bringing out some of these really quite strange esoteric prototypes in model form, and so they're no stranger to this area, with already the GT3 under their belt, with the FEL and also the Leader 2 on their list of forthcoming items. The DHP1, I guess, was a logical progression in that list, and they've very kindly let us take an exclusive first look on video of the EP prototype. Now this is the very first EP, so there's still some detail to go on it. Some of the detailing in the form of things like handrails or the buffers are either not applied to this or incomplete, and also we don't have an interior or the circuit board inside. So just to warn you, we're not able to run it on DCC and not able to show you the lighting options that the model will have going forward. But certainly it was really interesting to see what they've come up with so far, and it does show that this project is well underway and promises to be every bit as good as the previous models that we've seen from this manufacturer. Now we've got a link down below which takes you to the KR Models website, where you can order any of the livery options that they are making available, and certainly it's really interesting to see that not only are they doing this in its prototype maroon and cream livery, but they've also got some options for BR green and rail blue as well. So you can have a really great what if this locomotive had been successful and had lasted right through into the 1970s, and certainly that makes this a really interesting piece for a whole host of railway modelers. Come with me in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, and with additional support from KR Models, who dare to build the models that you want to see on your model railway. And I'm really looking forward to this exclusive first look at the DHP1 EP prototype. This is the EP from KR Models, very kindly brought over for us to take a good close look. Now do bear in mind that being an EP, it doesn't have the full complement of detail, and also the interior is not actually finished, but it gives us a good idea of what we can expect from this very unusual prototype. Now the real locomotive was something that was incredibly short-lived. It was built and designed and built by Clayton, and you might recognise the heritage of the Class 17. This actually, it looks like a slightly stumpy Class 17 with a much bigger cab, and certainly the layout of the engines under these bonnets with the central cab is very reminiscent of that Type 1 design. However, this particular prototype did not fare at all well. It was probably one of the least successful of the prototypes that ran on British Railways, albeit briefly. Now KR Models are proposing to offer this in a number of different liveries, not just the prototypical maroon and cream that Clayton turned out the prototype in. So we can imagine in this alternative world that the locomotive was more successful, and it is going to be available in a BR green and also BR blue with the yellow ends. So some of the liveries which you're probably more familiar with on the Class 17 are available for this DHP1. The model itself features a very heavy cast chassis and will include a whole host of lighting functions, although On this EP, the circuit boards are not in place, although we were able to run it up on DC, and it did run surprisingly well for a model that has been assembled from the first test pieces from the moulding. Now just bear in mind that being the EP, there will be some areas where KR Models may choose to make changes. So it's also the case that some of the detail may be increased as they add extra bits and pieces to the tooling to be able to represent, for example, fine rivet detail. And this is perfectly common with EP samples. The bogies are actually really nicely done, and I'm just showing you a close-up of these. I do like the relief detail on the sides there, and we've got these etched brass ladders and also these etched brass radiator fronts too, which are quite interesting. They are louved, which doesn't really show up quite so well on the camera, but certainly this makes for a very interesting comparison with the Class 17, which featured the grills on the side. Some of the handles are in place, but you can see there that these are loose, so not all of them have survived the transit. On the actual production model, these will of course be firmly in place. The interior of the model is pretty roomy and ultimately will feature a 21-pin interface and will come ready for sound fitting, and there will be a sound fitted option available from KR Models too. Because this is an EP, the buffers aren't actually sprung, but they will be on the production model. It's a really quirky little prototype, and I'm really grateful to KR Models for allowing me to have a really close look at this EP. It's nice to see how the models will evolve, and certainly what we're seeing here from the outset really does show a lot of great promise, and I really look forward to decorated samples that will come in the future. As I said before, when running this model on the DCC Concepts rolling road on DC, it actually ran really well. There was a little bit of a whine from the motor, but we tracked this down to it missing part of the components which would hold the motor tightly in place. And when we pressed down on the motor, all of that whine and rattle went away. And what was left was actually a very promising, smooth running and powerful mechanism. The motor itself features twin brass flywheels, and we have universal joints on either end of the motor which go to the gear towers, which provide full drive to all 8 of the locomotive's wheels. Pickups again are from the backs of all 8 wheels, and we showed no signs of hesitation even on this EP sample. We've included a link in the description box down below to help you find one of these on order. They can be found either through Rails of Sheffield or direct from KR Models, and are available as DCC ready, DCC fitted and DCC sound fitted, which include authentic sounding sounds which have been derived from a very careful research to be able to recreate the sound of this lost diesel dinosaur. Because this is an EP, it lacks the electronics from inside, so at the moment there is no lighting within the locomotive, but that will be a feature of the DHP1. Because it didn't have the circuit board, there's also no DCC socket inside, so whilst the locomotive does run on DC, I have no way of being able to test it on DCC, and because it's an EP that's on loan, I'm not in a position to hardwire it either. But I've got every faith that it will run perfectly once DCC is available on these models. Well, I hope you really enjoyed today's video and this exclusive first look at KR Models' EP of the DHP1 Prototype. What did you think of this model? I'd love to hear from you in the comments section down below. Is this a model that you're going to be looking forward to buying? Or is this one that actually you don't agree perhaps with the fictitious liveries that KR Models are offering it in? Or actually, are fictitious liveries really something that you welcome? I'd really love to hear from you all, because it's a great way of just figuring out whether this is something that manufacturers as a whole should be doing as we go on ahead. You can also tickle that like button, share this video, and also if you haven't already done so, do please consider subscribing to the channel to be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up. You can also become a channel member over on the Jenny Kirk channel, and that's a great way of getting extra perks when we do the Jenny Monday Club live stream. And you also get an exclusive first look at the Friday video advert free. You can also head on over to Patreon to help support the channel to make the videos that you want to see, and we've got several different tiers of rewards, and you too also get access early to the Friday video. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take care, happy modelling, and don't forget to gronk it up with our range of great merch down below. Until then, take care, bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. Additional support is also provided by KR Models, daring to build the models that you want to see on your layout. Check out their website today and see some of their award-winning models, as well as their forthcoming masterpieces in miniature. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, Alan Dickerson, Eddie Popper, Karen Nichol, Medwin Williams, Crossways Point Junction, 3B Rail, and Jennifer Garrett. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.